There are days that change the world, and today we're going to explore one of those days, a moment when a nation was truly reborn, all through the eyes of the man at its very center, Nelson Mandela.
Never, never, and never again. Just imagine hearing those words. This was the promise, a promise of staggering scale, delivered by South Africa's first ever democratically elected president.
The day was May 10th, 1994. After a lifetime of struggle, after 27 years as a political prisoner, Nelson Mandela finally became president. So let's dive into his own reflections on that incredible day, using his own words from his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom.
So what was that day actually like? Well, Mandela paints this picture for us. It's Pretoria, it's a beautiful autumn day, and you can just feel the possibility buzzing in the air.
And look, this wasn't just some local celebration. Dignitaries from over 140 countries showed up. To put that in perspective, this was a nation that had been a global outcast for decades because of apartheid, its brutal system of racial segregation. This was a welcome back to the world.
In his first speech as president, Mandela laid out his promises for this new South Africa. And it was so much more than just, pledging to uphold the Constitution. He called it a victory for all of humanity. And he set this incredible goal to free all his people from the chains of poverty, suffering, and discrimination.
But where all of this happened is just as important as what was said. The symbolism of the location, well, it was absolutely profound.
So the ceremony took place at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Now, for decades, this building was the very heart of white supremacy. But on this day, as Mandela put it, it was the site of a rainbow gathering, this beautiful mix of people coming together to celebrate a new, democratic, non-racial government. The transformation was just total. And then you get this moment that just gives you chills. Two national anthems were sung. White South Africans sang Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika, which was the anthem of the anti-apartheid movement. And black South Africans sang Die Stem, the anthem of the old oppressive regime. As Mandela himself noted, neither group really knew the lyrics to the other's song yet, but he was certain they would, and soon. I mean, that is reconciliation in action.
On that day, Mandela said he was overwhelmed with a sense of history. He wasn't just looking to the future, he was looking back, because he was deeply aware that this incredible moment was built on the sacrifices of so many who came before him.
And he didn't try to sugarcoat the past. No way. He talked directly about the deep and lasting wound that apartheid had carved into his country and his people, a wound he knew would take generations to truly heal.
But then, Mandela makes this really fascinating, almost paradoxical point. He says that all those years of brutality and oppression, they had another, completely unintended side effect.
It produced patriots of unbelievable courage, people like Oliver Tambo and Walter Sisulu. Mandela said that while its country was rich in minerals and gems, its greatest wealth was and always would be its people. And then he said something that just stops you in your tracks. Perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character.
So, from watching these comrades, these incredible people, what did Mandela learn about a quality we all think we understand? Courage. And this gets right to the heart of it for him. For Mandela, courage wasn't about not having fear. It was about the triumph over that fear. He learned this by watching everyday men and women risk their lives for an idea, standing up to torture, and just conquering their fear day in and day out.
And this whole idea of courage was completely tied to his own understanding of freedom, which, it wasn't something he was just born with. It was an idea that grew and changed dramatically throughout his life.
He actually breaks down this evolution for us. As a boy, freedom was simple, right? Running in the fields. As a student, it was personal freedom, like staying out late. Then, as a young man, it became about the freedom to build a family and a career. But that final step, that was the big one. It was realizing that his own freedom was completely meaningless as long as his people were not free.
And that realization right there, that was the turning point. Freedom is indivisible. When he saw the chains on his people, he felt them on himself. This, he says, is what turned a law-abiding lawyer into a freedom fighter. It's what turned a frightened young man into a bold one. But he doesn't stop there. His philosophy on freedom takes one more giant, and maybe the most challenging leap. For Mandela, the fight wasn't over just because the oppressed were now free. And this might be one of his most profound insights. The oppressor, he said, must be liberated too. The person who is inflicting the pain is also a prisoner. How on earth can that be? Well, he explains it this way. A person who takes away another's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. They're locked behind the bars of their own prejudice and narrow-mindedness. So just as the oppressed are robbed of their humanity, so is the oppressor. They are both prisoners. And for humanity to be truly free, both have to be liberated.
It's such a radical vision of empathy, isn't it? Born from just unimaginable suffering. And it really forces us to rethink what liberation even means. So we want to leave you with a very question that Mandela's entire life poses to all of us. What does true freedom for everyone really look like to you?